All right, welcome back to Fourth Down Talk, the show where every down counts and so does your opinion. My name is Albert, also ABN. I'm here with my co-host Chris, extra crispy. Tell him how you feeling today.
Feeling good, man. We got a beautiful NFC matchup tonight. As an NFC guy, I have a vested interest, and I'm excited for some good, hard-nosed November football. That's what I love. It's my thing. I'm here for it.
Excellent. All right. Well, we can't wait to get into it. We are going to start in the NFC, but first we're going to go ahead and start off with the Chicago Bears because they have
Hmm.
just recently released their offensive coordinator, all in an effort, I guess, to try to appease the offense to some degree when it comes to receivers, who are known for having raising complaints, stating that the offensive coordinator just wasn't working in the system. Some have even stating frustrations with Caleb Williams even starting, wanted the backup to take his place. Caleb Williams came into the league with a lot of praise, a lot of hoopla, called a generational talent. The Bears started off phenomenally well, and now they've been going on a downward spin. Mind you, haven't scored a single touchdown since the Washington game a couple weeks back. So first, we're going to start here. Chris, what is going on with the Chicago Bears just overall?
I'm going to start off like this. I have never seen a team lose a game 3 times off of one play. They've lost 3 games now because of that Hail Mary. The Hail Mary just completely seemed to throw them off. I don't know what it was. They went into the next game against the Cardinals. The Cardinals are playing well, but they don't have a very good defense. Like everyone puts points on them. They couldn't score at all. They had 9 points, 3 field goals. And then the next week they go out again and only score 6 points or 3 points. I'm sorry, against the Patriots. 3 points against a team that granted does have a solid defense, but on offense, even with Drake May, they're not anything to currently be concerned about. Caleb Williams did come in with a lot of hype. He was a number 1 pick. He was coming in talking about he wanted ownership in whatever team wanted to pick him up, which I was immediately a pushback against. So I was like, I don't like any of that. But I'm just going to go on record to say I think firing Shane Waldron in the middle of the season was A, making him a scapegoat. B, it was a bad idea. If you already have a quarterback who's a rookie who's struggling, why would you change the entire offense in the middle of the season? And now he has to adjust going into one of the hardest backloaded schedules a team can have. They have to play most of their division plus 2 teams in the West. Now, Seattle's going to be a fighting team, and the 49ers are going to be a fighting team. That is not an easy schedule they have. So I think if they were going to fire Shane, they could have waited till the end of the season. Just let him ride the rest of the season out. It's his rookie year. We've seen quarterbacks in the past where you throw multiple coordinators at them in the beginning. It's not usually a good thing. See Alex Smith, for example. He was also a number 1. I Caleb does need some mentoring. I think they need to bring in either some kind of quarterback coach, someone who's good with developing young guys. But firing the OC, I think, was a poor move. But it's the Bears.
Yeah. Well, now Williams is incredibly talented, but he's had trouble adapting to the NFL on a faster
Mhm.
pace. In college, he could hold on to the ball longer, make big plays because of standout skills. But in the NFL, those gaps, that time, it just isn't there anymore. So holding on to the ball too long has led to high sack numbers, a low completion percentage, low QBR, frustrating both Williams and the team. As I mentioned before, they were talking about letting the backup start just to kind of help even things out and try to salvage whatever season you possibly can. And then you have the challenges of coaching change at this point. You kind of have to figure to some degree, like, is Caleb Williams going to be able to kind of salvage his career, or is it going to be a situation where he's going to look at it and be I don't want to say a bust, but shortcomings, a
It's
regrettable pick?
well, regrettable. I think we're too soon for a regrettable
All
pick.
right, I'm
It's
not.
too soon. He did not have a good start. I mean, they started off okay, then he got hot for a second, and then they faltered. So whatever they were doing from like weeks 4 to 7, they need to start doing that again. I don't know what changed, but I do know that Caleb is not a hold on to the ball kind of guy. He's a guy who wants to throw it, like chuck that ball downfield if he can find somebody open. That's why they brought him in with a team built on wide receivers. But
I'm
now
still
he's
here.
not
Keep going.
doing that. Now he's not doing it, and he's holding on to the ball. But I will say one thing. While they have not scored any touchdowns in that stretch since the Hail Mary, you know what else he hasn't done? He hasn't given the ball away either. No interceptions. So I don't know if he's being overly cautious or the play style just wasn't sticking with him. But I think a bigger part of the issue was not the offense or the coordinator. It's his relationship with his players. If a team doesn't like you, they're not going to play for you. There's that clip of DJ Moore walking off the field mid play because the play was going on so long. He literally just walks off and doesn't come back on while the play is still happening.
That's
That's not a
no,
good look.
no, it
And
isn't.
coming from a guy like DJ Moore who was in Carolina when they were going through and still to an extent going through hell, for him to just walk off on you like that, I don't think he likes him. I just don't think he likes him.
Is that just recently? I will say on these, well, Caleb Williams stats do show that he has 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. As I mentioned before, he does have a low QBR. His completion percentage is around 60%. He was touted
Compared
as being a
compared to the
great
other rookies, he's
passer.
doing bad.
All right, considering. But looking at his stats, even compared to another quarterback who some say is not doing well, considering how prestigious of a pick he was, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is out for the rest of the season for the most part.
Mm,
But when you look at their stats combining, and Trevor played a full 17 games and Caleb's only played 9, but still, you're looking at the same set of numbers here. Trevor Lawrence at the end of the year had 59% completion percentage. He threw 12 TDs to 17 interceptions. In fact, one was even a pick six. So I don't know.
yeah.
I hate to bring this back up again, but these picks, these college players coming in, these are supposed to be the cream of the crop, especially with your Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams,
Hmm.
both considered to be generational talent. Is college having trouble producing a real quarterback?
It does start to feel like that when you look at the past like 4 or 5 years, and I'm specifically starting in 2021 because that is where I feel like the quarterback classes have started to falter. Because you have the 2020 class. 2020 class was solid. Joe Burrow led that class. But man, Trevor Lawrence, Caleb Williams, like these guys, either college is not making solid quarterbacks or preparing them properly for the NFL, or we are just overusing the term generational. Because generational talent, I'm going to be honest with you, the last quarterback that I saw described as generational talent was Andrew Luck, and he's not even in the league anymore.
No, but he was a phenomenal talent coming into the league, and I guess that's what it comes down to. It's just maybe they're just using the term generational because quarterbacks are going to be who they are. Some need time to develop. But just real quick, going to that 2021 draft, you had Trevor Lawrence in that draft, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, Kyle Trask,
Mm,
Kellen
oof.
Mond, who, Davis
Yeah.
Mills,
Oh yeah, I
Ian
forgot about.
Book, Sam Illinger. Who are these people I'm naming? I'm just not even
Yeah,
saying names
some of
anymore.
those guys never even saw the field.
All right. So, yeah, from there, it just hasn't been great. So it is an idea that the term is being used too often, but I don't know. It looks bad for both Caleb Williams and
It
I don't know.
does.
It looks bad for Trevor Lawrence right now, too. Either one of these quarterbacks are living up to that cream of the crop they're supposed to be.
Maybe he just needs time to redeem himself because that's what happened to Baker Mayfield. He was the number one pick. He was just maybe he was in a bad situation. Well, Trevor was definitely put in a bad situation with
Yeah,
Urban Meyer, year one, the Tim Tebow hype for no reason, literally nothing, no reason for that.
that was
And
hilarious.
Urban Meyer flaunting his college rings over his NFL players. You can't do that. All right. That was a bad look. But now he has Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl winning coach, and they're still not very good. Hell, last year, was it just last year they had like the division in hand, or was it the year before and they let it go? Like it faltered. Well, partly because
No.
CJ Stroud was so good coming in too. That also happened.
Well, okay, well, let's keep this in mind too. I just want to, again, pointing out Trevor Lawrence. Granted, the first year, 59% percentage completion, 66 the following year. Then it went
Okay.
down to
He had
65.
improvement.
Then it went down now to 61. Now, granted, he threw 4,000 yards both of those other 2 seasons. He had okay. His interception to touchdown ratio got better. In 2022, 25 TDs to 8 interceptions. But
Okay.
in 2023, 21 touchdowns to 14 interceptions.
He also got
That was
hurt
that
last year,
Peterson
didn't
year.
he?
Did he? He still played. He got hurt. He was out one game. He still played 16 games. He was 8-8 for the entire season.
Yeah, wasn't that the game where the whole situation was they didn't have a cart to carry him off field and he had to walk?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, keep it classy, Jacksonville.
Tony Khan, what are you doing?
Seriously.
Goodness. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. That's a whole different show. Okay.
But I am gonna be that guy. I don't latch on to quarterbacks that much because, as you know, I'm not a big Baker guy, not a big golf guy. I recognize that he's good. I'm not a big golf guy. I believe there's still hope for Trevor Lawrence. I do. I just don't think it's on the Jaguars. I think he needs
Uh,
to leave. He needs to go to another team. Now, what team? What team is a question mark? There's a few teams that could use a quarterback that I don't know if they'd be willing to pay for one. I'm looking at you, Cleveland. I'm looking at you, New York. Both New York teams at this point.
well, well, Cleveland, they're stuck to hold
Yeah,
Watson, that contract. The Jets, unfortunately, they're stuck, at least from cap wise, with Aaron Rodgers. Now, the Giants will be looking to possibly move off of Daniel Jones. Now, that could be a good turnaround for him. The Giants really aren't a bad team. And
they
Trevor
have
Lawrence could
talent.
probably prosper in a better area. He will be playing in the NFC East too. Put
They
some
got Malik
eyeballs on him.
Neighbors. They got that new running back, Tyrone Tracy. He's good. Their defense is okay. Their defense is workable. They just need a better offense. They don't really have a good offense.
I will be interested. So what do you do if you're the Jags then? You talking about going back into the draft, digging into the next prospect and hoping for the best? Who is the
You
next
blow it up.
prospect?
You blow it up.
Blow it up. Blow it up.
Because what else are you doing? What are you doing? They're
Wow.
making no traction. They're not even the best team in their division. The division itself is not great, and they're not even the best team in it. It's Houston is currently the best team in that division, and they don't look that great.
No, it's just a bad division. That's the thing about it. It is a good time to try to be a good team in this place because, like I said, it's not a great division in any sense. And I believe that's what Houston is hanging their hat on. Right now, Jacksonville does seem to have the number one pick, speaking.
Yeah, they do right now. Yeah. But that's the thing. Do
So
you put that on a quarterback or do you trade for a quarterback and try to figure it out and maybe build around him? Because Travis Etienne not having a good season. Gabe Davis not having a good season. Christian Kirk is hurt, so he's not having a good season. Their tight end is having an okay season when they can get him the ball, but their defense is atrocious. It's just absolutely disgusting. I don't like watching.
Duh, here's what you do. All right. Yeah, you blow it up, right? You know why you blow it up? So that way you use the number one pick, get Shador Sanders,
There it
bring in
is.
Neon Dion,
There it
come to
is.
Jacksonville, Florida, and you're going to get a prime time show.
You would take Shador over Travis Hunter if you were the
Uh,
Jags?
well, I mean, if you get rid of Trevor Lawrence, yeah, but if I'm
Yeah,
keeping Trevor Lawrence, you got to have Travis Hunter then.
yeah.
If I'm getting rid of him, though, that will be the way to go.
You wouldn't rather get rid of Trevor, like pick up a different quarterback from somewhere else, like a Mitch Trubisky or like a Sam Howell, a Drew Lock, a Zach Wilson, some guys who definitely are not starting right now, but they're in the league, and then you can build your defense behind a guy like Travis Hunter, who also plays wide receiver sneaker.
The only person you name would be probably Zach Wilson. And even then, I don't know about that. But you know what? Here's the flip side of this. You put Zach Wilson on the Jets, they may actually have a better record. I don't
Yeah.
know. Dude, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, I feel like I might as well just keep Trevor Lawrence because that's exactly what Zach Wilson isn't.
Hey,
I
listen
should just
here.
keep Trevor Lawrence.
I am on board for trading Trevor somewhere else and drafting a quarterback, but I'm just saying there is merit in building a defense and just having a serviceable quarterback in the meantime. And I know of one that they can use. He's busy right now, but he's always up to eat a dude. Bringing old Jameis back
Wow.
down into Florida, have him be sir.
Wow.
He's got better eyes now. He had LASIK.
That's true. The LASIK surgery. That is true. He does have better eyes. Jameis Winston, I do like that idea. I don't know because I still think to myself, I don't know, from Jacksonville, well, you can have your cake and eat it too. Why can't I just go ahead and keep Trevor Lawrence and still draft a quarterback?
That's true. You could do that. I mean, I don't know what he'd have to say about it because he's not on the level of like a guy like a Rodgers who would get angry if you did something like that.
And
But the
guess what?
writing,
Rogers is angry, and guess what? Rogers still played for the Packers. He
he
still
did.
lost in the NFC title games, and now
That he
Jordan Love
did.
takes the seat.
Rodgers, man. Ugh, the Jets. That's so much
I
hype.
still don't understand.
All I heard off season was this team is great. And Rodgers got a connection with his receivers. The defense is powerful. And here we are. They have what, 2 wins? Three? Two?
Yeah, no, they have more than that. Hang on a second, I can tell you. But no, that's another question. What do you do if you're the Jets? They have 3 wins. Do you draft a quarterback? I mean, what is their position in the draft? Because they might
There's
need to consider that to some degree.
Let's say they're stuck with that Aaron Rodgers contract. Even if he decided to retire right now, they're stuck with that dead money. But if you draft a quarterback, That's a rookie contract, so you don't have to pay him that much. So that takes a lot off your books. It's like
Right now,
it's current. You can build a team like the Jets have a foundation. They have a solid defense. They have Sauce Gardner back there. They have really solid pieces on the D line. Their O line is still needs a little bit of work, but they have offensive pieces too. They have Brees Hall. They have Garrett Wilson. They have Devontae Adams for now, but I don't think he stays if Rodgers goes. But with the other pieces you have, you can put a solid rookie quarterback in there and have them build, which is what I think they should have done in the first place instead of bringing in the ghost of Aaron Rodgers. But I
well,
get it. He's a name. He still had gas in the tank according to him, but I don't see it. I think that gas is running on fumes.
Well, I don't know. You got to think in that position. They might have looked at it. I don't know. So here they still have Zach Wilson, right? And you look at Aaron Rodgers. You think, okay, well, he's going to be here for a little while. He's going to be here forever. We can keep Zach Wilson, and maybe he'll mentor him, right? And then we can just transition back to Zach, or we could probably get another quarterback because Aaron is older, works out or not. They were just hoping to get a single Super Bowl, go all in like the Rams did. Rams said, forget the whole dynasty. We betting on this year, and they did it. So there's
It
proof in the pudding, especially after picking up Matt Stafford, by the way.
it hurt them a little bit after that, but if you win the chip, it kind of softens the blow. Like missing out on draft picks, and now their defense is kind of at best in LA. But they did hit some home runs. They picked up Puka Nacua out of nowhere, and he's turned into a fantastic wide receiver for them. Kyron Williams turning into a very good running back for them. They were able to piece some stuff back together, but it did cost a lot up front. That's the thing. You had to go quote unquote all in, which I think someone needs to tell Jerry Jones what that means. Different conversation.
I hear you. Jerry tries to go all in. A lot of, well, not all teams. He did not go all in this year. I
He
take
did
that
not.
back. But no, that's the thing, right? So it proves that there's different ways to win in this league. The Patriots way was, work hard. Quarterback takes the pay cut. We try to get pieces around them. Although I don't know where that money went because not all those pieces they had really had to cost that much. Seemed like a lot of draft picks, but whatever. Then you have other teams like the Rams who decide to go all in and we're just going to bet everything. Get rid of the picks. Give me a quarterback. Who cares about the future? We need this today. Is there any means or definitive way to win the Super Bowl? Like, is there one way better than another? Like, hey, it doesn't matter. Just get one.
I think if one side of the ball gets hot, you just kind of build around it, and you have to bolster the other side at some point. But that's the thing. Teams will get one side of the ball going, but not the other. I'm looking at you, Indianapolis. All right. You ruined Andrew Luck. You never built an O line around him. All right. Lacerated kidney, please. And now you got this kid, Anthony Richardson, who, in all honesty, they probably should not have drafted because not to start, because he's not ready. Either he needs work or he needs a mentor, and he doesn't have either. It's bad luck.
Yeah, I know. I hate to be so hard on these rookie quarterbacks because now I guess, we are used to people seeing like Andrew Luck or even Peyton Manning struggled when he first got in there. We didn't know
Yeah.
Aaron
But
Rodgers how
see,
great he
there's a
was.
difference between Peyton Manning's struggles and Caleb Williams' struggles. Caleb Williams has a team that kind of doesn't like him by the seams of it. He's holding on to the ball. They fired his coordinator. He has 9 touchdowns to 5 interceptions, so he's not throwing it. Peyton Manning was chucking the ball in his rookie year. He had 28 touchdowns to like 25 picks or something like that. But he was trying. He was throwing it. All right. If my rookie quarterback is out there doing that, I'm not mad at him. If you're back here crumpling behind the line and cowering and trying to not get sacked all the time and you're not throwing it, that's a very different situation. But,
All right, so yeah, Peyton Manning had 3,700 yards that year.
mm,
He only won 3 games. He had 26 touchdowns to 28 picks.
28
Wow.
picks.
So
Oof.
yeah, he was really just throwing the ball out there. He
He
was
was
throwing at
chucking it. Yeah.
56 completion percentage. So it was still over 50%. Granted, I know we were just kind of trashing on Trevor Lawrence, but of course he improved greatly since then.
That's the thing.
Um,
He was at least trying though, right? He was put in a position where he could just go out there, look, try to figure it out. We'll let you just keep going. They didn't pull him. They didn't pull an Anthony Richardson and bench him or a Bryce Young and bench him. They didn't do that. Let him go out there and play. And I hear people say, well, you can't let him do that. They said the same thing about Drake May this year. Don't want to have him go out there and play because the O-line is bad. Okay, welcome to the NFL. Some teams don't have good O-line. You're just going to have to go out there and figure it out. And if they don't want
Oh,
to build
wow.
around you, then it's going to ruin you like they ruined Luck. All right. Or either go to another team.
Luck resigned. Why can't I find Anthony Richardson? There it is. Oh, it's taking so long. I just want to check out Anthony Richardson real quick just to see. He's throwing a pick. He's got
Anthony
second.
Richardson, he's real good at throwing 60-yard bombs. I'll give you that. He can do that.
Is this his second year in the league?
Yes, he was hurt last year.
Oh, okay.
He started last year like a few games, but then he was doing a lot of running and he got hit a lot and he ended up getting hurt and they had to take him out.
Yeah, only played 4 games. So yeah, this year Anthony Richardson is at 958 yards. He's thrown 4 touchdowns and 7 picks. He is
And
throwing he's throwing 44%
yeah, he's
completion.
talk about generational. He has the lowest completion percentage in like the past 25 years for a
Yeah, I've
starting
never seen it
quarterback.
be that low. He's been sacked 9 times. He does have one game winning drive under his belt though.
Yeah, but he also gets tired. Can't do that.
Well, man, that is a weird thing. He did get tired and he pulled himself out the game. It wasn't like a
Yeah, he
third
tapped his
down.
own head. You can't pull yourself out the game, Amari Cooper. Sorry, wrong person. All right.
The same person. Yeah, and look what happened to Mark Cooper. They sent him right out of Dallas.
Is it
So you feel
right?
like you need to sit on the sideline. Oh, this is the wrong sideline to sit on. You need to be on a different one. Man. Well, like you mentioned, Anthony Richardson will be back on the field and he will be
Yeah.
starting this week. So this will bring us into the schedule. This week,
Mm.
week 11, going into it, we're going to sit here, kind of break down a few of these games, pick some winners, pick some losers, and try to figure out who's going to get some money this week if you got any bets on the line.
There
But
are
let's
some
start
good
with tonight's
ones.
game. We're going to start with tonight's game. It's going to be the Washington Commanders going against the Philadelphia Eagles. NFC matchup.
Mm.
We're talking about who's going to be the king of the East. Who do you got winning this one? Who do you like in this
I do like Philly in this game, mainly because of their defense. Washington and Philly are both top 10 in offense right now. I think, has a little bit more of an advantage on offense because it's that situation where we don't know how to work against him. It was the same thing with CJ Stroud last year. We didn't really know how to scheme against him because he's new. But Jalen has arguably the more powerful offense. He's got Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Like they have a more potent offense, I think, mainly because they've had more time to work together. And it's in Philly. That's the other thing. If it was in Washington, I might be leaning more towards them. Now, who do I want to win? I would like Washington to win this game. But I think Philly's going to. I think Philly pulls this one out because I don't think the Commanders are going to be able to stop Saquon long enough to capitalize on.
Okay. I hear where you're coming from. It's not a bad setup. It's going to be an interesting game. I don't really have too much of a favorite in this one. I don't have a dog in this
I
race.
do.
I will say, I get why you would want the Commanders. I want Philly.
As a Niners fan, I want Washington to win because that keeps things more even with more losses in the NFC for us. If the Eagles win, they go 8-2. I mean, unless the Commanders start turning that thing around, all the Eagles have to do is essentially keep winning and they won.
That's true. That is true. Philly 7-3. So Philly is 7-2. Washington is 7-3. Yeah, that
Mm,
could make things more interesting if Washington were to win this. All right. Well, let's move on
hey,
to the next game. The next game, you know what? We're actually going to go back to Chicago again because that's
mm,
where the Packers will be playing.
man.
I know, right? The only reason I'm bringing this up is because, again, will it be a situation where the Packers are just going to own the Chicago Bears? Or do you think the Bears could sneak out a win? They got a whole new offensive coordinator. Caleb Williams got to make sure people put some respect on his name. Will there be a punchback? A little bit of a fight coming out of this one?
I do think this game is going to be closer than people think it is. I think the Bears switching of the coordinator is going to, depending on how aggressive they want to be, and I think they should be aggressive in this game because you have to push against the Packers. Packers are coming off a bye. They're well rested. They have arguably one of the best dynamic young wide receiver rooms as opposed to the Bears wide receiver room who has solid wide receivers, but they have more veteran set. So what it's going to come down to, and this, I feel like this has just been the narrative of the Packers the entire season. What version of Jordan Love am I getting? Am I getting the version from the first half of last year or am I getting the version from the second half of last year? Those are two different guys. The second half, Jordan Love was great. He was a fun watch. He was throwing that ball. He was scoring. He was saving the games that they were faltering in. But that first half one was throwing a lot of interceptions, not getting control of his own offense. So if I were to predict, generally that whole new coach gets a win on the first try, I don't think it's happening. I think the game's going to be close. Packers are going to win. I'd say like a 27-23 kind of win. Bears don't get it done in the end.
Wow. Okay. An interesting sense. I don't know. It is a different offensive coordinator. We'll see. You know what? Another question I have based on this: if the Bears do lose, do they bench Caleb Williams?
If they lose and go the division is completely out of the question. It's almost out of the question now.
Yeah,
If they go
right.
4-6, and for the NFC, it's going to get real crowded for them wild card spots. I don't know. At 4-6, who's the rest of their schedule? Let me look at the Bears.
For the Bears, remember they get
Yeah.
the back end of the NFC East.
Oh my God, that's right. They have a gauntlet in front of them.
Yeah, they got to run to the rest of their division. They play the Packers again in like 2, 4 weeks from now.
Packers, Vikings, Lions, Niners, Vikings, Lions, Seahawks, Packers.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So that's what I'm saying. You know, if you lose this game at this point, do you be like, okay, that's it, we're done?
I think if they lose, depending on if they lose a close game, you keep Caleb in. If they get destroyed like they've been getting the past two games, 19-3 against the Patriots, 29-9 against the Commanders, if they don't score a touchdown in this game, bench them because that's 3 games in a row. You'd be on a 4-game losing. They were 4-2 at one.
Awful.
If they lose a close game to the Packers, you keep Caleb in. If they lose to the Vikings after that, it's over. Like they'll be 4-7. The game's over at that point. Don't hurt the kid. Just pack it up for next year.
All
Let
right.
him learn the
Well,
offense.
I'm going to go ahead and take from one East side to the AFC East. I'm sorry, actually the AFC North side, and we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers, who will be meeting
Man.
against the Baltimore Ravens this week.
Ooh.
Now, this is going to be a close game. Ravens coming off of their past win this past Thursday against the Bengals. You have the Steelers edging, gritting one out against the Washington Commanders. But, famous matchup. Great rivalry between these two teams. How do you see this one panning out?
Both of these teams are coming off of phenomenal 1-point wins. It's great. They fought, they earned the W's. Steelers were on the road, so I give them a little bit more of a nod than I give Baltimore for winning that game. But Baltimore's defense is bad. It's just bad. Their pass defense is bad. They're like 26th or 20th in the league. They lost Kyle Hamilton in that game, which is a very big deal. If Justin Fields was starting, I would say the Ravens should pull this out. I don't know, man. I'm leaning towards Pittsburgh on this. I really
Ooh,
am.
really?
I'm leaning towards Russell Wilson on this one. And I know Lamar is probably going to be outstanding. He's going to run. Derrick Henry's going to run. But they can't stop the other team's offense. So for me, it's going to come down to who scores first. If Pittsburgh scores first, it's going to be a game of catch up for the rest of the game. And I don't think Ravens can overcome that with that defense. I don't think they can. If they go up by 10, I think it's too much, unless Lamar
Well,
just starts becoming a magician. So I'm picking
well,
Pittsburgh. I'm calling Pittsburgh to win this game.
that's fair. I get you. I know. You do hate the Ravens. I get it. You hate Lamar. You hate black quarterbacks. That's okay. I
Wow.
understand.
Well, the other
That's okay.
quarterback is also black, all right?
Oh, limited. I hear
Mr.
you.
Unlimited, all right?
But to that point, Lamar Jackson is 1-3 against the Steelers. He is 7-5 against all other AFC North teams in general.
Mhm.
Pittsburgh is the only team in which he has thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. He's thrown 7 interceptions against the Steelers compared to 4. But you know me, I love going against the grain. I got to pick my boys here. I am going to pick the Ravens merely because of the Derrick Henry factor. I don't think he's
That
ever
is a
had a much
factor.
reliable run game that he can just kind of rest on without his own legs. I think that could be the edge. I don't know if the Ravens do lose this one. I guess we'll get them back on the next one. But not a bad
Who's
pick to
better?
go with the Steelers.
Who's better defensively on the ground is the question. Because I know the Ravens'
Oh,
passing defense is bad, but who's better on the ground?
well, Pittsburgh has their defense in general is second ranked, so
Oof.
they'll probably
But
have a better ground defense.
but the offense on the Ravens is number one. They have the best offense in the league.
This is gonna be a great game, I tell you. It's gonna come down probably to the last moment. I don't know. I'm biased. I don't care. I'm picking the Ravens. No rhyme or reason. That's it. I don't care. Let's go Lamar. All right. Let's go to
I'm
the
not
next
mad
game,
at it.
though.
I'm not mad at it.
Let's keep the game in house. Please in house for you. Yeah, your house, the 49ers, will be
Yeah.
hosting the Seattle Seahawks.
Mm.
Geno Smith coming in, marching through. How do you feel about the 49ers chances in this, considering how much of a little struggle they had against the Buccaneers this past week?
How do I feel about the Niners going into this game? Let me just ask you one question. Is Geno starting?
That's a good question. Let me check real quick. I don't think it's
Because
official or unofficial.
if Geno's starting, oh well, then I think we got this. I think the Niners had this in the bag.
If he's starting.
Brock Purdy has not lost to Geno Smith. He has not lost to the Seahawks since he's gotten here. Struggles or no struggles. I'm just gonna say it, man. The Seahawks are a bad team. The Seahawks are a bad team that was disguised as a good team for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season. This team lost to the Giants. All right. The Giants, who for the first 6 weeks of the season couldn't score a touchdown in their own house. Seahawks lost to them handily. They can't get it done when they need to get it done. And I know what their problem is. I don't like trying to give the Seahawks advice. They don't run the ball enough. They have Kenneth Walker, who's great, by the way. This kid is really good. And they have Zach Charbonnet, who's also good. But they just insist on having Geno throw 30 to 40 times a game. And I don't get it, man. Like, you have a solid team around you. You have DK Metcalf, that's cool. Tyler Lockett is starting to fade a little bit. It's been a while. He's a veteran. Geno's not good enough. He's not good enough. He's good. He's not good enough to win this division. He's not good enough to make the playoffs and win. Every time he's made the playoffs since he's gotten here, he's lost.
No, I do see where you're coming from to that degree. And 49ers do seem like they're a better team. Granted, that win they had last week was pretty tough, but I don't
Special
see the
teams is
Seahawks
bad.
pulling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Division matchups usually can be kind of close,
Yeah.
but I think in this case, I do feel like the 49ers will just, I don't want to say run them out the building, but it ain't going
No,
to be a
no.
pretty game after some point.
It's not going to be a blowout because most of the Seahawks games aren't blowouts, but
Yeah.
I would say it's going to be like a 27-14 game, maybe 2017 at best, but it won't feel like it was close. That's the thing. It's not going to feel like it's close. I predict a very similar game to 49ers Cowboys, where the first half it might have been a little shaky, but that third quarter, especially with CMC back, I'm predicting this is CMC's breakout game. I'm predicting at least 100 plus yards and at least 1 or 2 touchdowns for CMC.
That should be
And
fun.
also, as a side note, I'm not trying to sidetrack anything, but I need to say something to Kyle Shanahan. Kyle, stop using Debo as a running back. No one likes it. No one's fooled by it. He's getting like 2 yards a carry right now. Stop doing it. You have Jordan Mason and Isaac Guerrero. Use them. Just find some sort of formation where you have CMC out there and Jordan Mason out there. Kittle's on the inside so he can block if he needs to. Debo and Pearsall on one side, Jennings on the other. Let the defense figure it out. But the fact that CMC came back from all this injury, all this time, and Jordan Mason got 1 carry? Are you serious? 1? He led the league in rushing for like 4 or 5 weeks. You gave him 1 carry. Okay. All right. Cool. I'm not just saying that because my fantasy team suffered, by the way. It's for the
That's
team's
right.
sake.
I hear that. Little
Uh,
underlying note there, though. I get you. Well, we're going to take it away from division rivals to not necessarily division, but maybe conference or internal rivals. We're going to talk about the Chiefs going all the way out to the snowy plains of Buffalo, New York to take on Josh Allen and the Bills. Man, who do you see taking on this one? Now, the Chiefs, some could say they're running on luck.
uh,
Man, that luck came real close to running out without that block last week. Can they risk playing this down to the competition style football against a team that's of the magnitude of the Bills and not expect some type of upset? I don't even know if I would call it an upset.
It
Maybe.
wouldn't be an upset. That's the thing. They're already the underdogs going into this game, which is kind of wild that they're undefeated and they're underdogs. But it's on the road, so that makes sense. But no, it would not be an upset if they lost. Yeah, it would ruin their perfect season, but it wouldn't change the fact that they're number 1 in the AFC. That's not changing. It doesn't change their divisional standing. It doesn't even affect the Bills whether they win or lose because that division is pretty much sewn up. But in the regular season, Josh Allen is much more successful against Patrick Mahomes. He's 3-1 against Patrick when it's regular season, but he's 0-3 in the playoffs against Patrick Mahomes. So some analysts are saying this is the biggest game of Josh Allen's career. I strongly disagree with that because this game, whether the Chiefs win or Buffalo wins, yeah, great. If they lose, the winning streak is over. Big deal. Whatever. I'm sure some geriatric in Miami is going to pop open a bottle of champagne and celebrate, but it
No,
doesn't
say that.
affect them either way. Like it doesn't change anything no matter who wins this game. That being said, Buffalo by 10. All right.
Okay. No, I can see that being the case. Buffalo is favored -1, so they're expecting to be a close game. However, the Chiefs play it too close to the vest to
They
me.
do.
They do seem to always grit it out. I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. I think the Chiefs are going to get a penalty that's going to go into their favor. And it is going to be something that's going to help them win this game. I have the Chiefs walking away undefeated, getting to at least 10 wins before they get their first loss.
Are they going to lose to Carolina?
Oh yeah, you still got that on your calendar as map. That to me could be the upset special. I tell you, they lose to Carolina. When is that game? That is November
Yeah,
24th.
it's
Oh
next
wow,
week.
that's
Yeah.
next week.
Yeah, it's next
Oh
week.
man. Oh wow, there it is, 10-1. There's the one.
if
Let them
if
get to
they're
that 10
if
first.
their one at the end of this season is Carolina, oh my God, I don't know how I would be able to process that.
That is a weird minor victory for Carolina, a stain record. I tell you, that will be a stain record. But yeah, I think they'll get 10 wins before they get that first loss.
So you're saying pretty much the opposite of what happened last time is going to happen to the Chiefs, where they had the flag that took their touchdown away, which had the Bills win. So now it's going to be the other way around. The Bills,
Wow.
Josh Allen's going to throw touchdown, Keon Coleman, and it's going to be, oh, there's a flag. Too bad. Sorry. Your guy jumps before the line.
Oh,
Take it back.
yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. And then Josh Allen's going to come to Patrick Holmes and say, this BS, you know that, right? Patrick Holmes like, what are you talking about, guy? It looks like a fine play to me.
Oh, he was so mad about
Don't
that.
like it.
That was Kadarius Tony's fault. That's why he's
Kadarius
not on the
Toney,
Chiefs
yeah.
anymore.
About to say, he had the drops last year. He just couldn't hang on to anything.
Is Amari Cooper actually playing in this game, or is he out? Because
Hang on,
him
you
being
sure
out
Bill's
is going
on?
to be a big deal. Because the wide receiver room in Buffalo is not great. It is
He,
okay at best.
he's not listed as out. He's limited, but it's going to be a game time decision.
No, I don't like. I might
He's
have to
he's
retake
limited
my pick.
participation. We have to see.
Nah, you know what? I'm sticking with my pick. I'll stick with it. I think Buffalo wins. I think Buffalo
Okay,
wins close.
I'm not mad at it. I hope they do, but we'll see. I don't know. Hey, it's Chiefs, boy.
It'll be the perfect setup. They're gonna win, and then they're gonna see the Chiefs in the divisional round, and they're gonna lose. That's what's gonna happen. So,
Yes,
same
it is.
old,
But
same old.
a lot of these other games just don't have a lot of consequences. But nonetheless, going to go to the next game here. You do have the Cincinnati Bengals, who, I don't know, this season may just be over. I mean, at this point, they're
Man,
running on fumes, but they're going against the upcharged Chargers, who is
Chargers.
bolting through, who could be finding their way into a playoff run. They're looking really good.
They
I
are.
don't know. This is going to be the Sunday night special. Who do you
Oh,
like
a
to win in
Sunday
this
night?
game? Hmm.
Uh, the Bengals defense is a problem. They didn't make any big shake-up moves during the trade deadline, and I thought that was a little strange considering that's been their Achilles the entire season. But the more I look at their highlights too, it might also be the coaching. The offensive calling needs some work. Joe Burrow's having a fantastic individual season, and Jamar Chase is having a solid season. T. Higgins is on his way out. He's not going to stay, which I think is going to hurt them a little bit. But the Chargers, look at what the Chargers can do when they finally have a coach that actually likes to play defense.
You know,
Man,
I also like the quarterback. Jim
yeah,
Harbaugh loves his fucking.
yeah, Justin Herbert, yeah. But
Yeah,
he's
who
not.
doesn't like Justin Herbert?
It's weird though because he's not letting Justin Herbert do what he was doing before. Because before Justin Herbert has a cannon for an arm, and he could just throw that ball 40, 50 yards down the field, 60 even. But now he's getting around 200 something yards a game. Now, granted, he hasn't thrown a lot of picks, but he's playing more old school football, whereas more focuses on the ground and in the trenches and just not letting the other team progress. That being
Yeah.
said, yeah, I don't think the Bengals defense can hold. That's the problem. They're not strong enough to stop, especially a team that's going to bleed you. If you get bled out by running on the ground and you just keep the defense on the field, yeah, the Chargers should win this one. And once the Bengals drop to 4-6, the division's out of the question. I don't think they can make a wild card. I think their season might be almost over, which
Yeah,
sucks,
this one.
but
It's not a great run. It looks like it is kind of on the verge of being over. But going to your point about Justin Herbert, he really has been playing conservatively from the passing
Yeah,
standpoint. He has yet to break 2,000 yards. He's only around 1,800, but he has 11 touchdowns, only 11,
yeah.
one interception for the
That's the
entire
thing.
year,
He's not throwing
right?
picks.
Right, they're playing really well in the offensive perspective of making sure to take care of the ball while also getting points. I mean, that's the name of the game, isn't it? I don't
Yeah,
know, man. Chargers may be a team to look out for as the postseason comes around. They might really do some damage to some teams.
because they can grind you down. That's the thing. You grind
We're
a
gonna
team
see.
down and tire them out. It doesn't really matter how good your offense is if they're not on the field.
I don't know. We'll see. The Chargers are going to be an interesting team to keep an eye on. Them and the Steelers. I feel like
Yeah.
those two teams are going to mess around and do more than what's expected. I'm not saying
See,
they'll win a Super Bowl, although the Steelers probably could, but we'll see.
see, my worry is that like the Chargers or the Steelers will both get in. They'll take each other out so that the Chiefs avoid one of them.
See, that is the key thing, right? Because I don't know. The Chargers have yet to play the Chiefs, right? No,
Did
they
they?
played them already.
Oh, so they
They
played them
played them.
early in the season. I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the Chiefs beat them 10-17. They did, but they got to play them
It
again. That
was
was
a one
in
score game, man.
L.A. Next game will be in Chiefs Kingdom.
In area where they've never beaten them. So
It's gonna be an interesting
the
game.
thing. The Chiefs divisional opponents have not beaten them in Arrowhead outside of that game against the Raiders last year. Like,
All
that's
right.
strange.
Well, that actually leaves one game. I said we weren't going to talk about it, but I don't care. It's the battle in Texas. We're going to talk about
Okay.
them anyway, real quick. It is going to be the Houston Texans going against the downtrodden,
Mm.
the quarterbackless Dallas Cowboys. I don't know what to say. I kind of feel like this is Houston's time to shine. But I think Cooper Cup, I mean, not Cooper Cup, Cooper Rush is still going to be starting. But doggone it, will this be the moment we may see Trey Lance come on the field at least if this game gets pretty bad?
I mean, we saw him briefly last week, and I mean briefly because it was one play and they took him right back out.
See, one play, I'm talking like drives. I mean, a full quarter. Hell, give me half a quarter. Give me an
Well,
opening drive.
from what I've seen, a lot of Cowboys fans are reluctant to put Trey Lance in because they don't remember him being very good in San Francisco, which to be fair, I don't think he got a fair shot, different conversation.
No,
But
it is a
in the
conversation because that's
yeah,
the thing. He never gets a fair shot.
but in the
I don't know.
preseason, this season, he threw 5 picks in one preseason game, and a lot of Cowboys fans are like, "Well, that's it." But to be fair, I just saw a team throw 5 picks against Houston, and they won. So I don't know. Give the kid a shot. At this point, what do you have to lose? Because I know what Cooper Rush can do, and I also know what I saw last week where he couldn't do anything. He threw for like what, 38 yards? Come on, man. Really? At this point, why are you not starting Trey Lance? Just play him. It doesn't hurt. And Houston is not necessarily a powerhouse. Again, they just had a team throw 5 picks on them and they lost. They couldn't score on them. Now, the Dallas defense is not like the Detroit defense. So maybe Houston has a better job of scoring against them. Maybe Tank Dell plays better. Maybe Joe Mixon plays better. But I do know that the Houston defense is not going to have anything to worry about if Cooper Rush plays. Because if Cooper, like you said, what is the element of surprise? Trey Lance is more of a surprise than Cooper Rush is. So at least he can run. At the very least, if he can't do anything else, he's going to take off. Cooper Rush isn't doing that. I mean, what would it mean if they started Trey Lance and they won? Just to pull out a W. What happens then? Do you keep Trey Lance in?
Well, let me ask you this. What happened? Okay, well, yes, to answer that question. Keep him in. But what happens if it's a close loss? Let's say they lose by a field goal, but it was competitive up until that point. Do you still keep Trey Lance in, or you be like, okay, we tried it,
No, you
we
still keep
lost?
him in because when Cooper Rush played, he lost 36.
Oh, you put it like that. I get throwing 5 picks in a preseason game looks bad, but I mean,
It
you
did.
know what? It's preseason. I don't care what anyone says. Those games are meant to make mistakes. Like, you got to go out there and just be like, all right, let's try this. Well, that ain't going to work. We ain't going to try that
Right.
again. You're doing this to the second, third string players. But I think you got to put him in regular season play. He has played, I mean, honestly, Trey Lance, I don't even think has played
Full season.
a full game. Has he played a full game? Two games. Four
In
games.
Dallas? No, I don't think so.
Well, not in Dallas, but even with the 49ers. Why
Oh
is he
yeah, he
playing?
only he only played a handful of full games for the 49ers. because his first win, funnily enough, was against the Texans.
There he is. Well, there you
And
go then.
and it was shaky. It was a shaky start. He had a shaky first half. He put it together in the second half, and they won.
Okay, so here we go. I got some stats here, finally. Trey Lance, in the grand scheme of it, at least in that first year, started 2 games. He was 1 of 1. He had a
Yeah.
57 completion percentage. In both of those games, he combined for 603 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Mm.
That ain't the best. That ain't the worst. He was sacked 4 times in those games.
And he
I
also
don't
took a
know.
nasty shot in one of those games. I think it was against Arizona when he tried to run one in. He took a hit going in there, boy. That was ugly.
I kind of feel like they just need to, I don't know. I
Well,
mean, put him out there. Like you mentioned, there's nothing to lose in this season at this point. You know what you got? Might as
I've already
well.
gone on record to say that I don't think Kyle liked Trey Lance, and I'm going to stick with that notion.
Well, you say that. I don't know. The way Dallas is treating him, I'm trying to think no one likes Trey Lance. The
I mean,
fact that
they
he can't get
trade.
on the field, that's a whole separate team.
I mean, you got a guy that was trade. You traded 3 first-round picks for him. 3 first-round picks to pick up Trey Lance. I would
I'm not gonna lie.
say I would say you at least have to play him in Dallas. And my only original concern was maybe there was a fear that if they played Trey and got similar play out of him versus Dak, then they'd feel like maybe they made a mistake and given Dak all that money. But at this point, Dak's hurt. You don't really have much else to lose. At this point, start whoever you can. If it's cool, if they want to start Cooper Rush and lose and say, well, maybe we can still keep Trey Lance because we don't know what we have him. This is your time to find out what you have. Cooper Rush has been on the team for years. No one's threatened by him. No one's scared of him. Maybe Trey Lance and CeeDee Lamb could build a connection. Maybe.
Maybe.
You don't know unless you try it. If he's not getting first team reps in practice and you're not putting him on the field, how else is he supposed to do?
Maybe he can open up the run game with his legs because they do have trouble getting the ball on the ground.
Yeah, they can't run. I think they're running at what, like 84 yards a game or something like that, which is
Yeah.
career lows.
I don't know. Could be an interesting ordeal, but like you mentioned, Houston should walk away with this. I
They
don't know.
should, yeah.
I'm going to be on the side to say that if Trey Lance start, I'm giving him the win. He's going to
Ooh.
give you the upset. It's going to be a Monday night. You might as well put him out there. Put on full display. Sink or
Yeah, because
swim.
no one's tuning in to
Wow.
watch Cooper Rush play, all right?
No, but fantasy owners will probably tune in for CD Lambs and maybe CJ Stroud's and betters.
As a CD Lamb owner, I am also a little upset about the Cowboys offense, but it is what it is.
Mm. I'll be
Houston
watching Monday
wins.
Night Raw. Well,
Houston
hey,
wins pretty solidly.
while we're talking about fantasy, do you see anyone or have any suggestions on any possible waiver wire pickups? Who's a must start? I'll probably sit them out this week.
Well, if you're in a league where for some reason nobody's picked up Ricky Pearsall yet, pick him up. It's very clear Kyle wants to use him as the Brandon Ayuk going forward, and that's what he's going to be. The fantasy advice this week is pretty much start every Lion you have. They're going up against the Jaguars.
Yeah. Oh, wait, real quick. That's right. I wanted to mention this game. What I want to mention? Did I have the Jaguars winning? No, Jaguars going to lose. Yeah, start every line you have. They're going to get the Jaguars this week. This is a bad game.
In Detroit too. If it was in Jacksonville, for some reason, that Jacksonville field kind of messes with other teams and they don't score as much. But no, this
Soggy.
is in Detroit. They'll be in a dome, so they don't have to worry about the weather. Jared Goff will be comfortable. Yeah, this is going to be ugly. I think it's going to get ugly and it's going to get ugly fast. Mac Jones is going to be starting too. Yeah.
Oh, man, that is right. It is Mac Jones. Yeah, you might want to play that defense while
Yeah,
you're at it
Lions
too.
defense. Before, let's see, that guy on the Texans, was it Mechie? Mechie the third?
Mhm.
He got his first touchdown last week in the absence of Stephon Diggs. So maybe keep an eye on him too. Another waiver wire pickup to go alongside Tank Dell. Nico Collins should be returning. So I would definitely put him back into your starting lineup. Let's see who else. No one else really in the Ravens Steelers game that hasn't already been picked up. I would say, who did the Dolphins play this week? Are they playing? Are they off?
Yeah, they'll be playing the Raiders. The Raiders will be coming to
Yeah.
Miami to play them.
Yeah, this is the time for the Dolphins to kind of get their resurgence going. Tyreek scored again. So for the Tyreek Hill owners that have held out, man, I know it was rough. I know that stretch was rough. But now you're going to get your dividends if you kept him or if you traded for him.
Bro. I still have Tyreek Hill. I got rid of Tua. I don't know. I probably should have got rid of
Now,
Tua.
I'm not going to lie. I recently just traded Tyreek Hill away. But that team
Really?
that I traded him away on was already faltering. That team's pretty much dead in the water. But the thing is, the Dolphins they're in a really interesting situation because Tyreek Hill has a wrist injury, but he's playing through it. The problem is if they start losing again, like if they lose this game to the Raiders somehow, there's a chance Tyreek Hill could be deactivated. So there's a possibility that you could lose him for the rest of the season. And if that's the case, you got to get what you can out of him now or trade him. That's what I did. I traded him for Jawan Jennings because I just wanted a Niner on my team, and he's one that's going to put up points. Fun fact, Jawan Jennings actually led the Niners last week in receiving.
All right. Well, excellent. With that being said, did you want to mention real quick about the 49ers pickup? They picked up someone on their defensive end.
I know we picked up a punter and we picked up Khalil Davis during the trade deadline. Khalil
Hmm.
Davis is a decent pickup, but he's not a world beater. He is more of a depth piece on the line, which I am not upset about, but he's not going to be shaking the line up. He's a good depth guy for those stretches in the game where we need to pull guys out because for some reason guys like Nick Bosa aren't really doing what exactly they need to do, and we don't have Hargrave, so I get why they picked him. So the punter situation is a little bit more concerning because Mitch Wishnowsky was a really solid punter, and now he's having back issues. He got a couple of nasty hits he took against the Buccaneers. The special teams on the 49ers is not only making our hair go crazy, but it's also a big reason why a lot of people don't think they're going to win a lot.
Mm. No. Okay. Well, well,
Start
hey,
DK Metcalf.
that really does it for us today for the most part. Now, we're definitely going to be checking in on these games come this weekend. I hope you guys also check on the games as well. If you have any comments, have any opinions that you want to add on to the topic we had today, feel free to do so in the comment section. Also, like and subscribe to the channel if you enjoy what you're listening to. But hey, we'll see you on the next down. I hope you have a good night.
I need someone to tell me why Trevor needs to stay in Jacksonville because I don't buy it. I need someone to explain it to me. That's what I want to know. That's my fourth down right there. Trevor's on his fourth and he's on his way out. That's what I'm calling.
Trevor's on the hot seat. As far as Chris is concerned, if he had a team, he'll be out of here by the end of the show. Well, that's it. He's out of here, folks. Have a good night.